just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, ChristopherBlodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. Nala, girl. Nala. Come here, girl. Come here. Hey, my beautiful husky girl. So what do you think, girl? Is it time to get started? Well, all right. You guys heard her. This week's topic, everybody. The importance of gratitude and appreciation, even during a state of overwhelm. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, appreciate you hanging out with me on another week of Real Talk Tuesday. If you're new to this podcast, my name is Chris. I am your host. And what we do on this podcast, typically we do a Real Talk Tuesday episode every Tuesday and a Storytime Friday episode on Fridays. Although the Friday episodes have been on hiatus for a minute. They will be coming back. Just a matter of I do have stories written. Just got to get them recorded. You can say I'm kind of trying to get into a position where I could actually do multiple recordings at once, so that way I could have a month or two basically recorded and uploaded, so that way I'm not taking it week by week or whatever. But they are definitely coming back, and just a work in progress right now, so stay tuned. Again, for those who are not, if you're new to this podcast, you can find us on socials. Blodgett Show Podcast on Instagram. You can find my personal socials for Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at TNTruckerChris. You can find me on X at CEAZFreedom. I have a blog that I will start updating a little bit more here in the near future. TNTruckerChris.wordpress.com. And anybody who wants to support the show, anything as low as $1, hey, anything helps. Go to BlodgettShowPodcast.com/support and appreciate everything that you guys donate to the show. Everything helps. Got big plans for the show in the future, but obviously it kind of will depend on financial stuff. So anyway, on with the show. So the inspiration for this week's topic kind of comes from kind of what I'm going through recently. Let's see, I got a notification that I'm what is trying to? Because it's funny because I don't actively use Cash App, but for some reason I've got this doesn't show what it is. It just says you had $119 charge. It didn't go through on your Cash App. Well, yeah, no shit. I don't, you know, like I don't have $119 in there. You know, it's like, and I don't actively use my Cash App too much. I mainly use it to transfer funds. I'm trying to move money between a regular bank and Venmo, and for some reason Venmo does that annoying thing, the annoying trait they do, where you know sometimes it'll let me transfer funds to Venmo without an issue. Other times it'll try to transfer. Oh, I'm sorry, we were not able to do that. It'll be like, well, the possible reason for this might be that that you reached your limit, your transfer limit. I'm like, I didn't reach my limit because usually it's like $3,000 or $4,000 in a week. You know, and I'm like, might be transferring like, I don't know, anywhere between like 500 to like 2,000, which usually is not the higher end of that. Usually it's like maybe 1,000-ish, 1,200. You know, depends on, because usually I'll just go ahead and pay whatever bills I need to pay right away when I first get paid, and then I'll move the rest over to one of the other accounts like Venmo or whatever, because it's a lot easier to keep track, keep the card locked when I'm not using it, all that fun stuff, you know. But Venmo, I love them, but hate them at the same time. Because it's like, go to transfer and, oh, sorry, we couldn't do that. Ah, motherfuckers. So, but the funny thing is like, but they don't block it if you transfer money to your Venmo on a card. So it's like, I'll connect, I'll do the whole little debit card juggle. So I'll replace the debit card I have connected to Cash App, move the money from the checking account to Cash App, and then I'll replace the card again with my Venmo card and move it from Cash App to Venmo. And it's like, you know, oh, okay, well, you guys won't block that though. But trying to add money to Venmo from another card, it's like they give me hassle sometimes. And I'm like, then I go ahead and do it the other way, and then of course I replace the Cash App card with the other card that I put on there and stuff. So it's like, you know, it's a little jumping through hoops and whatnot. But have to think for a second. Of course, like talking about that going on a little rant. Something I'm like, my mind blanked again. I'm like, shit, what was I talking about? It's like always tired, you know. But so yeah, the inspiration is like basically what I'm dealing with right now. My youngest just literally started college. So like last week, we got up to like Friday, and basically I found out like Wednesday or Thursday. It was like, oh, by the way, she has orientation Friday morning. What are we gonna do? This is my wife talking to me. She doesn't sound like that. What are we gonna do? No, I'm just kidding. And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm like, what do you want me to do? And she said, well, I don't know. We gotta get her up there. And I'm thinking like, she has to be up there by like 9. I was like, I need to be like, I'd like to get back and go to sleep, but you know, it was like, all right, fine. I guess I'll try to get back here as early as I can and see if I can pick her up and take her up there. So I did. Took her up Friday. Literally got home probably by like 8 a.m. Literally messaged my kiddo. I was like, hey, I'm on my way home. Be there in like 20 minutes. She goes, all right, cool. I was like, yay. And then when I parked out front in the driveway, because I was like, well, I'm not gonna go in because like I gotta, you know, pick her up, take her. So I figured I'm just gonna message her, hey, I'm here. All right, I'm coming out. Okay. She comes out because we just finally got her permit, and next step is to work on getting her license. But I have a car for her that's parked in the garage. It's a '95 Buick that used to belong to my grandfather. It's been in my family for forever practically, because my grandparents both passed, I don't know, it's probably been like 15 to 20 years. Because they passed, I think, in the early parts of my my marriage with my wife. I think my grandmother actually, I think she passed before I got married, actually, when I was still technically with my ex-wife. We were going through our divorce or whatever. So never got up there, never was able to get up there for her funeral. But then my grandfather passed when I was already married with my now wife, and I actually was able to think I was at my first base at that point. So I guess technically that was my only base. I never switched bases. So I was only in for one term. So it's like never really got to explore or deploy or anything, you know. So that's the weird experience of me being in the military. It was like I was supposed to deploy at one point, but I inherited a lot of debt with my ex-wife, and my credit wasn't the greatest. So it's like I literally was like, you know, heading out to the plane with my unit I was deploying with or whatever, and I got pulled off the plane literally at the last second. Like, we climbed on the plane and we're getting belted in, and basically had a, you know, like a higher up commander or sergeant or something basically peeked their head in and called out, "Hey, ChristopherBlodgett, come on out here. You're actually not going. You're staying here." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah, you got pulled off. Like, your credit, you know, because your credit, your security clearance got revoked. Blah blah blah." I'm like, "What?" "Oh yeah, because you're a security risk because you have debt, and they think that you might actually sell secrets." I'm like, "How would I sell secrets when I have no clue? I don't know any military secrets. Like, this is fucked up, but all right, whatever." So that was an interesting time of my life right there. Because suddenly I couldn't work over in the firehouse that I actually was technically supposed to be at because it needed a security clearance. So I got put in another station, another department or whatever, which is technically easier to work anyway. I was basically just inventorying stuff, or, you know, there are days that they actually didn't need me to do much anyway, so I would inventory stuff from like 8 a.m. until maybe like noon or 1 o'clock. They'd be like, go ahead, head out. Like, you're good. Like, we don't, nothing else for you to do. I'm like, "Oh, okay, yes sir." I'd head home and my wife would look at me and walk in the door like, "What are you doing home?" They said there was nothing else for me to do, so they told me to go home. She goes, "Oh, cool." Well, yeah. I'm like, I just do what I'm told, you know. But good old little one of those little Salas or whatever. I don't know, Salas, I think, SALAS, I guess, is what the truck company name or whatever. On the shoulder with a tow truck in front of it, hooking up to it or whatever. I'm like, ooh, that sucks. Ooh, so, again, you know, when I get off on a tangent, then I'm like, what was I talking about again? This is the problem with as hard as I work, with as little sleep as I get, you know, and, you know, as little rest R&R I get, you know, it's like, I'm totally brain fried all the time. So, last week, you know, Friday, I got home, I picked her up at like 8, I had to put some gas in the car, so of course, like, in my truck, so like, you know, pulled up to the pump, and I was like, you know, of course, I was like, "Hey, do you want me to send you like $10 so you can run in and grab like a breakfast pizza slice or something at Quick Trip?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." Actually, I said her, because I thought, hey, I'll send you like $5 or $6 or whatever, because it should be enough to get something. And of course, she texted me from inside. She was, "I actually need another $1. Okay. So I sent her 6. So like I sent her another $1, so it was 7. And she, "Oh, we need another $1 because I'm like 20 cents short." Okay. But Venmo gave me a hard time. "Oh, you just sent an identical transaction to the same person. We can't allow that. We think that's possible, you know, possible fraud. Blah blah blah." Okay. So I sent $1.50, and it went through. I'm like, I mean, I understand why you do it, but obviously, you know, if I said like, because I had Cash App that I was actively using back when I first started, I think with my current or my last employer that got bought out by my current employer. At one point, I was using Cash App, and I haven't always locked my card all the time. Like back then, I would just get paid. I'd have my Cash App open. You know, you get the occasional charge which tap part of your paycheck. Ah, shit. But you know, I still left my card open. You know. If the bill got paid, it got paid. You know, without me trying to or whatever. But I had one night, I was, because I would usually I'd stay up until, like, actually, I guess this is probably further back actually, because I know with my last employer I was actually running nights, whereas before then I was working until like I'd get home at like 11:30. I'd stay, get home, hang out until like maybe 1 in the morning, just kind of like relax, and then go to bed. So I'd get up and be back at work at like 1:30, 2 in the afternoon. And I remember getting home Thursday night, I think, because I'd usually get paid Friday morning. And I'd wait up until like 3 in the morning when my paycheck and my wife's paycheck would hit. And I remember getting paid, and like the next night, literally I had like, I was on my way home and I still had money on my Cash App because I hadn't paid everything yet, and hadn't gotten groceries or whatever. Things are good, And all of a sudden I'm getting these Cash App alerts: $1, $25, $50, $3, $50, $75, $5. And of course, it's like literally within seconds of each other, and I'm getting these alerts. I'm going, what the hell is this? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's Google, this charge. I'm like, so finally, like after I'm watching this, of course, it didn't process right away, and I literally went, okay, hold this. I gotta stop this. So I was like, they're gonna literally tap my whole check. Like, everything's gonna disappear. So I locked my card. All of a sudden, decline. Like, they kept trying to, it was different amount charges: $1, $2, $5, $10, $6, $5, $1. But now it's decline. This charge didn't go through. That charge didn't go through. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, because now I stopped you. But of course, I told my kiddo about it last week, and I was like, yeah, when Venmo wouldn't let the charge go through, and I went ahead and paid her $1.50 so that she could get her breakfast slice and a water. I told her about the Cash App thing. I said, yeah, by the time I blocked it, I think I lost like $30, and there's nothing I could do unless I wanted to go and dispute all those charges with him. But I was like, that's a lot of work for $1 here, $1 there. Unless I could have said everything that happened between like 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. on this day, all those small charges, those are all fraud, because I didn't do any of those. I was like, I didn't even fight them. I locked it. I saved the rest of my check, and I just let it go. I didn't worry about fighting him or whatever. Now, obviously, if it was like $1,000, I probably would be like, hey, like, I need that money back. Like, that's $1,000 with all these little charges. But I stopped it pretty quick. Could have stopped it faster, but but so she went in, she got her something to eat or whatever, because basically her orientation was going to go pretty much, I think, until 4 on Friday or whatever. So it's like she had to be there by like 9 a.m. So I drove her to the school, and of course I have a car for her, that car that belonged to my grandparents. But I know it's been sitting in our garage out of the elements for like the past like 8 months. I think I've tried to start, like, I think within the past 2 months or so, I did try to start it up, but the battery, because it sat for so long, the battery was dead. And I tried to jump it, but the battery was too dead to where I got the car going, and I was able to keep it running for a few minutes with revving the engine up before it would die. And of course, like Google and the AI stuff on the web, where you're asking questions and it'll respond. I love how the technology has come to that point where it's almost like you could have a conversation with these AI whatever online, and it'll be like, yeah, I think such and such, or I'll be like, well, like, if I'm experiencing such and such, like, what is this? And it'll search a bunch of different things, and it'll give you what it recommends. Like, oh, I think it's this. Like, what are you experiencing? Like, what's happening? Is it this or is it this? But like, it's such and such. Oh, okay, well, then I believe that's this, but you want to do this. So I basically had asked. I was like, if I have a dead battery. It's car, but I got one of these. So what I did last week is I thought, because my kiddo was like, I need my car to work, Dad, so like I can drive. And I'm like, we gotta get your license. She goes, well, I got my permit now. The license is next, but I need a running car. I'm like, I know. I was like, I'm working on it. It was because my car doesn't work. I'm like, no, it works. I was like, the battery's just dead. I was like, the car itself is pretty solid, been through, multiple people in the family, like my younger sisters. A couple of them actually used the car for college for a little bit until my parents bought them another car, and then they kept the Buick kind of just sitting around there. And then, a few years ago they messaged me and asked me if I wanted the car, and I was like, oh yeah. Actually, they messaged me a while back before that, and I kind of, they said like, hey, we'll fly you out here. And I was like, all right. But then I had asked, would you be willing to fly me and Zoe out there? Because I know she would love to come out and see you guys, and my mom never responded. And then, so I was like, all right. And then, 2 years later, I think we were talking about it or something. Like, mom mentioned something, and I was, and I said, like, yeah, well, I was interested in the car, but you never said anything. She goes, well, because you just, it's already expensive to fly you, and you wanted us to fly you and Zoe, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you could have said no. I was like, I was still interested. I was like, I just thought that maybe you'd want to see your grandkid. I'm sorry. I was like, never mind, forget it. And so, I messaged at some point, basically said, if the car is still available, if you still want to get rid of it, I said, I would still be willing to take it. I was like, I would look, because I would be, at the time, I was going to try to say it would be a car for my oldest, because she needed a car, but then, because I think she is, I think this is, I'm trying to remember if we had the car when, so I think we picked the car up when my oldest had come back, I think. So, because I know we got the Mazda out of storage for a brief minute, and my youngest was going to have that car, but then it got vandalized, and we were going to get it fixed or whatever, but then we went and got the Buick, and that was going to be my oldest car, but when we got to my parents' house, and we were driving the Buick where my kiddo with me, she was driving, and I was riding passenger seat, letting her get some driving experience. And then she was talking about, like, oh man, I really love this car, Dad. And my parents were like, hey, we really want Zoe to have the car because it's been driven by a student the past 5 years or whatever, and we think that it would really make your grandfather, it would really make, if he's watching down, it would make him happy to know that it's being kept in the family, and one of his great grandkids is driving the car, to school or whatever. And I was like, yeah. I was like, well, I don't care which kid drives it. I was like, but Zoe really likes it, so I'm fine with her having the car. So, but the plan was try to get it running, and I thought, well, I know it's more expensive to buy a battery. It's like $250. What it cost me to put the current battery in there. Got it from AAA. There's that was the only financial option that they gave me. And it was because they tested the battery. Like, yeah, it's dead. It's bad. You gotta replace it, whatever. But, oh shit, okay. And I was like, well, how much is the battery? Oh, $250. But that's with installation and taxes and stuff. That's everything. That's the full price, whatever. And I'll install it for you. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to pay $250, but go ahead, let's do it, And so, and plus it comes with a 2-year warranty, so I think if I have to end up replacing it, I'd, could probably call AAA, and I don't think it's been 2 years. I might be able to be like, hey, can you guys come test the battery and make sure it's good, So what I did, because I thought, well, I want to try to save money where I can and try to, not spend if I don't have to. If I have to, that's fine, but I figured I'm going to try not to if I don't have to, to see if I can avoid it. But I went on Amazon on Thursday night or something, when I knew that I was going to have to get home and basically take the kiddo to the college, to the university, or the art institute or whatever. It's not a 2-year school. It is a 4-year school, which is getting a bachelor's, but it's not a university. It's it's literally an art institute. So it's, I guess technically it'd be university, I guess, kind of. 4-year college, at least. Expensive as hell, but helping her follow her dreams. But I went on Amazon and basically I looked up battery chargers, and I found one that was like $30. It was a smart charger, supposed to like, I guess when it charges the battery, it's supposed to go green, showing you it's fully charged, and that would go into maintenance mode where it stopped trying to charge the battery, and it would just apply a little bit of charge every so often to basically help maintain it and keep it charged, so that it doesn't, like, if you're sitting for a while, it can just keep it maintained. That way, you keep the battery life, whatever. I was like, all right, that's cool. You know, it was like, I figured $30, oh cool, you know. But I guess I got one of the lowest amp chargers, like 1 amp versus 2 amp. And I guess 1 amp, if it's a fully dead battery, can take up to 60 hours to charge it. So alright, that's fine. So I messaged in the group chat with me, my wife, and my kiddo. I was like, hey guys, so I just ordered this trickle charger that can take up to 3 days, 2.5 days to fully charge a dead battery. And it, I was like, I don't know if this will revive the battery and if we'll be able to run, if I'll have to buy a new battery, but I'm gonna try this because hey, it's cheaper than $250 for new batteries. I was like, this will come this afternoon, and I'll try to hook it up before I go to work today, whatever. And so dropped her off at college that morning. It was like, I basically said the Amazon package is supposed to arrive before I get up for work. If it does, I'll get up. I'll try to go out there and get it hooked up, plug it in, because it plugs directly into the wall, whatever. It's like, all right, that's cool. Hopefully it works. I can't wait to drive my car. Can't wait to not have to either take an Uber or whatever. I'll be able to drive myself to school. And I was like, well, at some point, like, I want to be able to get the car running. And then I want to be able to, like, ride with you and have you drive your car with me riding with you. Drive from home to school and back at least a couple times. 4 or 5, 6, half dozen times, whatever. So that you've done it a handful of times. You get used to most of driving is repetition. I was like, there's nothing too advanced about it. And it's like you just have to get out there and do it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And then and then you can avoid other people doing stupid shit because you're just used to being out here going down the road, doing what you gotta do, and unless you're like one of these drivers that'll like fly down the shoulder, cut over 3 lanes, cut up back over 3 lanes, and go off in the grass to pass people. Those people piss me the fuck off because you guys, and if you're listening to if anybody listening to this podcast are people that do that shit, fuck you. Because a lot of us that try to drive normal, we see you cutting across 4 lanes, driving on the shoulder to pass people because you're impatient as hell. You guys are the ones that cause major, or a lot of the ones. Talk about this, maybe you think that, wow, there's people out there that think truckers are the ones. Wow, we need to get trucks off the road because they're the ones that come. No, we're not. We're not the ones that cause major accidents. We do have bad drivers out here in the trucks also. As a lot of truck drivers that are out here doing what they gotta do can attest, because we've seen those drivers walking out, like coming out of the truck face first instead of like facing the truck with 3 points of contact like you're supposed to. Coming out of the truck wearing flip flops, feet up on the dash, or guys that have gotten in trouble for having their phone mounted on the windshield playing a movie while they're going down the road. Hell, we've had somebody in our company that actually got in trouble for that. It was a funny story too, because we had hold on a second. Alright. Sorry about that, guys. I know there was a little while on there that I happened to, being that I'm recording or whatever, I happened to glance at the phone and I was like, I had non-stop sound waves on the phone, and I was like, I deliberately disconnected from the truck Bluetooth. It was just connected to the headset, so I thought I should be safe, right? That way it doesn't just start recording on a different mic or whatever. I mean, so I don't know how long it's been doing that because I wasn't really paying too much attention. We're only at 28 minutes, so probably wasn't too long. Maybe like maybe 15, 20 minutes, because I know it was on the headset for a minute. But I paused the recording, and then I held the button down on the headset, and it powered on. And I was like, what? When the hell did it turn off? So that, I've got one of these headsets, and apparently it's, because I've had it for a while, and it's like little things like that make me go, yeah, it's almost time to replace it, because it just randomly, it doesn't even say anything sometimes. It'll just, stuff will change, and I'll be like, when did my headset turn off? It's like, So I caught it this time, because I noticed those are pretty like constant sound waves on the recording on my phone. So it's like I knew something was up, so I paused and switched. Now everything seems to be back, because it showed just Bluetooth on my phone, but didn't actually show me connected to a device like the truck or the headset. So I was like, turn the headset on. It showed all of a sudden connected to headset Bluetooth, and then suddenly I hit record, and you see the waves are normal again. So it's recording now with the headset mic again. I'm like, I don't understand how it didn't powering down. It just stopped. It just apparently went off, and I guess I've been recording with the phone speaker for a minute. So I apologize. I hope for those 20 minutes that it wasn't like too bad. I'll have to listen to that part of the episode, see how bad it is. But man, fun times. A lot of background noise, I guess. So I apologize in it, but not in advance, because you guys will be listening to this technically today. Because I kind of procrastinated on when I was recording this episode, so I didn't get it recorded Friday night or Saturday night. Tonight I was like, finally forced myself. I was like, yeah, I better go ahead and work on this and get this done. Otherwise, I don't know when I was going to be recording. And I'm in an area right now coming through Missouri. We're on this Interstate 70. We're off the side of the road. There's a big ass ditch, where it looks like a quarry, where they got like a bunch of equipment over there. There's a bunch of lights. Looks like a big ass dirt hole. And I'm like, I was like, I don't know if they're building a road over there or not, but I was like, it'll be interesting to see what's being built over there. But, oh well. But hey, I caught it. We're back on track again. So versus like the one episode where I realized at the very end that apparently it wasn't recording on the headset the entire time, and I was like, well, shit. That's like crap. So, oh well. But let's see. So I got the charger, and I hooked it up. I think the problem that I had Friday and Saturday night was basically because she had to be back at the college again on a Saturday. It was like second day of orientation. She was gonna get her student ID, get her class schedule, and then have like a tour the rest of the day, like the other couple hours to like see where her classes are and stuff. So I was gonna have to get her there. And then basically I told her, I was like, Mom has to figure out how to get you home, because like I got you here, you're getting done while I'm probably still asleep. I can't do both. I can't come out here twice. And I definitely don't want to pay the Uber right now. I was like, Mom can figure that out. I'd figured my wife would go pick her up, because like I was basically told like, well, can you take her up there when you get off work? I'm like, I can, but I'm not gonna be able to get enough sleep to go to before going to work. I'm gonna be tired as fuck. Well, I understand that, but yeah, you know how it is. Yeah, she understands, but it's like, doesn't care though. You need to get her to the college. Come on, guys. Okay. All right, fine. I guess I'll do it. The perks of being the breadwinner, guys. The one trying to take care of the majority of the stuff. It's like, come on, can you just figure this out? Okay, fine. All right, I'll see what I can do. Because then when you're tired, here's the funny thing, guys, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate. This is me kind of venting, so I apologize. But I will literally, I will get to bed by like 10:30, maybe 11, get like 5.5 hours of sleep before coming into work. And I'll come into work and I'll do what I gotta do. I'll be like tired as fuck, but I'll be like, all right, I cannot wait till I get some caffeine in me and some food in me when I stop at Lowe's. And my wife, not having to work till like 9 or 10 the next morning. We'll go to bed at like 10 o'clock the night before. Get like, you know, what, 2 hours, 8 hours. She'll get 10, 12 hours of sleep, or 10 or 11 hours of sleep. I mean, she'll say, well, I didn't really get much sleep. I couldn't shut my mind off, whatever. There's always something, you know how it is. But I didn't sleep well. Oh my God. And I'm thinking like you were in bed for like 10 hours. I was like, I only got 2 hours, or I only got 5 hours. I'm so sorry for your loss. Or when you hear, you know, when you get like barely getting sleep, and then somebody else goes like, oh my God, I only got like 9 hours of sleep. I'm so miserable. Okay, you know, I'm so sorry for you. As I sit over here and give you the bird. You know, not her, I wouldn't give her the bird, obviously, you know, but it's still like, okay, you know. So, but I, you know, Friday and Saturday was the same deal. I got her to the school, I got home. Friday when I drove her the first time, because I told her, I was like, we want to find the best route for you to go, so that way, you know, it's just, you want to make it the easiest as possible. Whenever you go to school, you want to, especially as a new driver, you want to have the easiest route. And so, we drove there the first time. GPS, of course, get off of this exit, take this road, take this right, take this left, do the curve, take this right, take this left. And I'm thinking it wasn't a bad route. It was an okay drive, but it took a lot longer than I thought it was supposed to take. It's like 25 miles, which is fine, but it took us like 45 minutes to get there. And it's because like, oh, 45 miles an hour, take this right, take this left, oh, come up the stoplight, come to the stop sign. And I'm like, if this is the best route to your school, this is gonna suck. And I told her, I was like, I'm gonna try to figure out what would be the best route to get you there to school, so that way you don't have to listen to me if you don't want to take that route, but I'm gonna at least figure out the best way to get there. And then if you figure out a different way you want to drive, go for it. You know, with your kids, guys, you know how it is. All we can do is try to guide them, tell them, hey, this would be easier. But if they have something else they want to do, they're gonna do what they want to do. Like trying to talk to my oldest, you know, love her to death, was moving out probably the smartest move. Wasn't a dumb move, but you know, there was definitely a better way of things that better way that she could have gone about it. Like my wife and her talked about her moving up, like her and her boyfriend finding a place up here near us, so she's still close to her family. And for, like I said, I think I mentioned to you guys in previous episodes, for the longest time, it sounded like my daughter and my wife were in agreement. Like my daughter's, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that way her kiddo could stay in his school he was in up here, you know, and like we would be close so that we could help them if they needed it or whatever. But then 6 months in, something changed, and it was, oh, we're moving to Georgia. And, Logan got us a place down there, and we're gonna be near his family. You know, we're like, oh, okay. We're like, you realize you're 900 miles away, and we can't really do much if something happens. She's like, I know. So, all right, well, you know, good luck. We wish you the best. You know, we're here for you. We'll do what we can for you if you need help or if you need us or whatever. So I've been just messaging every so often to try to, you know, touch base, see how things are going, and she sometimes responds. The few times that she has responded have kind of made me feel a little bit better as far as like the daddy-daughter relationship between me and her. Because at first, you know, I'm thinking she's not really responding to me at all. Like, we're not talking. I was like, so that's why I mentioned, like, inheritance-wise, when I set things up, probably wouldn't be much left for her, but there'd be a lot more left for my youngest and whatnot. Well, this is interesting. Literally got one lane closed. We got cones on one side, and then we got a fucking JB Hunt guy that just decided, I'm gonna park on the shoulder, and there's no room, dude. Like, why are you parked there? Like, you're fucking dumbass, man. Oh no, I'm just over here. I'm still partway on the road, so there's a cone knockdown back there. Somebody had to hit the cone to avoid hitting JB Hunt. I was like, yeah, that's, you know, not surprising. Could have gone down a little further. There's actually like 6 miles away. There's Lowe's, a Quick Trip, a Pilot. Like, come on now. Nope. I had to pull over here. You know. So, but all I'd say, like, you know, all you can do is give your kids the best advice possible. They're gonna, obviously, as they grow up, they gotta make their own decisions. It's like, I look back and go, you know, there are things that my parents recommended to me that I totally like ignored, did what I wanted to do, and I look back and I tell them, like, man, I was stupid back then. Like, obviously, like, looking back now, I should have listened to you guys, but I thought that I knew better, so I apologize. I'm sorry. You know, I wish I could go back and change it, but some things I would change. Other things, you know, like if I changed those things, and my kiddos in college now wouldn't actually be here because I wouldn't have met my wife. So, hell, I might not have been married at all because I might not have ended up staying with my ex. Like, she would have left to go back to Texas, and I would have stayed in Nebraska at the university I was at. So who knows what would have happened, you know, what my life would have turned out like. But my ex kind of, you know, something happened. I had a falling out with my parents, and my ex basically said, I'm leaving and going back to Texas. You can either come with me or you can stay here. And I was like, well, I don't want to lose you, so I guess I'm coming to Texas with you. Looking back, I'm like, I don't know. I should have probably stayed in school. You know, maybe I'd be an actual physical therapist now, because that's what I was going to school for. Although I really am not very good with sciences, so like basic science I'm good, but like chemistry, biology, I sucked. In high school, I think the only reason why I passed biology was because the teacher basically passed me. He knew that I was trying my ass off to try to understand it. I don't know if any of you guys can relate, but when I was in high school and I was taking chemistry or biology, it was the same teacher in both classes. Literally, yes, he would go up there and he would talk about, well, chemistry especially. He'd go up there and he'd talk about the different formulas or whatever, write everything on the board. All right, guys, here's what's going. Like, here's this, here's how you come up with this, blah blah blah. And he'd go around the room. Hey, do you have any questions? Do you understand? And I would ask a couple questions, like, so if you put this here, that makes this, right? He goes, yes. Okay. Huh. And then he'd try some other stuff, and he'd ask me again, so what about this? Okay, well, with that, it looks like you do such and such, right? And it would come this. Yeah, that's correct. He goes, I don't understand why you're struggling, because you're actually getting it seems like. I'm like, well, when you're talking about it and have it written up on the board, I said, but then I go to take the quiz or the test, and for some reason, it's like, I draw a blank. So I was like, he's like, I think you're ready for the quiz or the test, okay? You know, put the paper in front of me and see all the different formulas or whatever it was. And I'm like, I have no idea. I would, work the problem and try to do it or whatever. And of course I'd get like partial credit, I'd get completely fail it or whatever. But basically then he would have like, well, I'm going to have to stay after class. I'm going to give you a couple questions verbally, write stuff on the board, and I'm going to work the problem through with you. And then as long as you even if you don't get the problem right, but we're working it together, I'm going to give you credit for it. That way we can bump your grade. I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was like, I really don't want to fail. He's like, no, you're not going to fail. Like, just stay with me after class for like 2 or 3 days a week, and let's go over do a couple problems. And you'll get this much percentage or extra points out of your grade. That'll help at the end of the semester. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I passed. He did enough for me that I was able to end up passing the class with a C at the end of the semester. My parents were ecstatic. Oh my God, you passed chemistry! And I'm like, only because my teacher kind of basically gave me a free grade. What do you mean he gave you a free grade? I said, well, you had to stay after for a little bit, for 20 minutes, to do a couple problems with him and work things through. And that she's like, well, that still counts. He's working with you to try to help you out so that way you can get through. I'm like, yeah, well, otherwise I would totally fail because I don't understand this shit at all. So I drop the kiddo off and I tell her, I'm like, hey, so when I get up this afternoon before work, I'll try to go out there and get if the charger shows up before I get up, I'll try to go out there and hook it up and get it started. I was like, it says it takes 60 hours, so it's 48 hours would be Sunday afternoon when I have 5 p.m. So 60 would be 5 a.m. on a Monday. I was like, by that point, we should be fully charged. I was like, obviously, I want to get the car started and drive it with you a little bit. Basically, probably be what we're doing next Sunday. You know, go out a little bit this week, fire the car up. You know, so all weekend I had it running for like 24 hours. You know, from Friday night to Saturday. Friday from 5 p.m. to Saturday at 5 p.m. You know, my last day of the work week. And I went on to Google, you know, with the AI asking questions or whatever. Basically, it was like, hey, so it's been running for 24 hours. It still shows a white light under the 12 volts. It has a pulsating red light. I was like, is that a good sign after 24 hours? It was like, well, yes, that's a pretty good sign. That means that it's doing what it's supposed to do. But like, how long was the battery dead? I said it was parked for 6 months at least. And, oh, okay. Well, the battery might be bad, but the fact that it's not giving you an error and it's still pulsating the red light is a pretty good sign. That means it's still getting some power trickled into the battery, so you might still be okay. Like, okay. Always love when we're on a road right now where there's a barricade on both sides. And it's like trucks will squeeze by me, and I'm like, I slow down to let them go because I'm like, you guys are dumb. Like, wow. No offense to you guys, drivers out there. I don't understand when you got a barricade on one side, you got the right lane, and you got somebody going 60 in a 55. But they'll still squeeze beside you, and I've had UPS go by me, and they've been close to me where I suddenly heard my mirror scrape against the side of their trailer, and thankfully it didn't do any damage or whatever on my truck. But I heard that, but you motherfucker, because he drifted over towards me, and I had a ditch on my side, and I wasn't going to go anywhere. I'm like, either we're both gonna be mangled together, or you're gonna, you know. I was like, I ain't going to the ditch. Getting some sprinkles. I guess we're getting some rain out here. I'm still like actively watching, you know, glancing over, making sure that the sound waves on the display on this as it records is like that it's normal. Because I was like, obviously, like after 15, 20 minutes, I was like, wait a minute. That looks weird. That doesn't look like it's recording on the headset mic. I was like, I better check that. And they're like, oh shit, yeah, it's not even showing my headset is turned on right now. That's weird. So, AI asked me questions, and it was like, you know, based on the information you're giving, I believe that you're doing the right thing, and just let it go the full. It's like, which amp charger did you get? I said I got the 1 amp. Okay, cool. That takes up to 60 hours. You know, and once it gets at that point, once it's 75% to 100% charged, you'll start to see a green light on your charger. I was like, oh, okay. And it's like, yeah, just leave it hooked up all throughout the weekend, and then on Monday morning or Monday afternoon, check it out. You know, just like it should be green by that point, and then you could actually unhook it and do like a run test, see if that it fires up. Because it was suggesting like, well, maybe like, it's like, were you able to start it up at all recently? I said within like the past 2 months. I jumped it, and I would have it running for like 2 minutes with it revved up, and then it would sputter and die. I was like, yeah, we think that your alternator is bad. And I was like, yeah, but wouldn't that still would the alternator even struggle, even if the battery was fully dead? If it had like 1% and didn't have enough charge, it wouldn't be able to run long enough for the alternator to really make a difference. I was like, no, your alternator, even if the battery is dead, it should still keep it charged enough and keep your car running. I was like, but it could definitely just be that your battery was too far dead, and that's why, you know. So once you charge it, just do a test, blah blah blah. Like, okay. So yeah, then I go to pass this truck. I get like 2/3 past it, where I'm literally like, the trailer's nearby, or whatever, or near the truck, and all of a sudden the guy speeds up. It's like, oh no, I don't want you to pass me. Oh no, you know. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess if you could go that fast before, then why were you going that fast previously? Like, I was literally going by him and pretty quickly, like rapidly passing him, and all of a sudden I notice his speed match mine, and then all of a sudden he starts to pull ahead on the right lane. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Like, and then he slows back down again. Like, I'm suddenly like only 10 feet behind his truck on the left lane. I'm like, I didn't get back over until you speed up to get further ahead, because, you know, they do that. You know, drivers, either truckers or cars, do that shit all the time. Like they'll, speed up so they get a little ways in front of you, and then you think, okay, so you get back over, and they slow back down, and suddenly your distance sensor alarm is going off again because you're gated on them. Like, so you get over, and you go to pass them again, and they speed back up, and you're like, either go pick a speed, man, pick a speed. Like, quit being a dick and pick a speed. Because some of us put our cruise control on to kind of like chill, to kind of like like do what we gotta do, go down the road, not have to be like speed up, slow down shit, whatever. But hey, So my Saturday afternoon, still pulsating red, still everything looking good. I dropped my kiddo off Saturday morning again, and again I didn't get to bed till like 11. I had like 5.5 hours of sleep. Both Friday and Saturday, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so tired. But I wasn't, and it was like the first part of my trip until I get to Love's. It was like the worst because I'm like, I'm so tired. I wanted the caffeine, plus I was hungry, so I guess you could say I was probably hangry because I was like, struggling to stay focused. And then I get to Love's, do what I gotta do, get my coffee, get my food. Then I get back on the road. I'm like, okay, I'm alert. I have my coffee, I have my food. I'm good. And so Saturday, I told my kiddo, I was like, well, obviously, like, I would love to be able to fire the car up tomorrow and be able to drive with you to the college at least once, so that you can get some experience. I was like, but I'm thinking I want to give it the full 60 hours to see if it turns green, give the battery the best possible chance to be revived, like have it be fully charged and not like stop it when it's partway, So I was like, it might be Monday, might have to go out next week and drive the car a little bit, but so Sunday evening, it was still showing a blinking red. So I thought, all right, I'll check it Monday morning, Monday afternoon, whatever. So Sunday night, my we were talking about like my kiddo had her, her Monday class schedule. She had to be at the school, I think at like 8. So again, they're asking, my wife's asking me, so what are we gonna do? And I was like, so I basically went online. I was like, well, I guess I'll schedule an Uber and pay for a ride just to pick her up at 7. And my daughter complained about it a little bit. She's like, well, obviously, like, I'd rather be riding with somebody I know than just riding with a stranger. And I'm like, I understand that, but Mom has to work in the morning. And, I'm off tonight, and I haven't slept the last 2 days too much. And I'll go back to work tomorrow afternoon. I was like, I don't want to get up at 7 to take you to class and then come back home and try to go back to bed. I was like, that's like, what, 2 hours that I'm driving there, driving back. Or drive you there and then come back myself and then probably get back home and be like, all right, now I'm going to go back to bed for like, I'd have a while. So it'd be like, probably get back by 9 and then be able to go to bed till like 4. So I'd have like, 7 hours, but still like, yeah, but it's broken sleep at that point. It's like, hey, I slept for 4 or 5 hours, depending on what time I went to bed, and then went back to bed for like 7 hours, 6 or 7 hours. I could have done it, and it probably would have been fine, but I was like, you know what, like, I don't really want it. I want it, like, what I do Sunday night and Monday is kind of I try my best. I don't know how the week's going to go, how much sleep I'm going to get, so I usually try to go to bed, like, midnight, 1 a.m. I've got to bed as late as 3 a.m. and then set my alarm for, like, 3:30, 4 o'clock, so I'm still getting, like, 13 hours. And because of the way the week goes, there's a lot of Mondays that I literally will go to bed and, like, I'll be out. Like, I'll eat very easily. My alarm will go off at, like, 4, even if it's, like, a 13, 14-hour time from when I went to bed, and I'll be out the whole time, and my alarm will wake me up. Because I'm so sleep deprivation most of the week or whatever, that it's like I very easily am out for that full time. So I would very much prefer not to be like, hey, I'll get up at 7 and take you to class. Oh yeah, sure. It's like I want to, I'll bend over backwards for my family and stuff and do everything I gotta do, but it's like I still gotta try to take care of myself too. It's like, I don't really want to just die out here, so it's like, trying to explain that to the wife or whatever. Like, look, like I'm trying to be okay out here as well as trying to take care of you guys. So it's like, you got to kind of work with me here. Yeah, man. While she gets 12 hours of sleep and I'm getting 5. I'm just so tired. I know. Yeah, me too. You know, it's like I didn't get like half as much sleep as you did. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love my wife. I do. It's just, you know how it is, guys. We're expected. There's so much expected of us, whatever, and yet we probably don't get as much in return as we like. Man, you know. But you know, it's still, hey, you know, it is what it is. Gotta be grateful and stuff. Appreciate the little things, even if they're rare. You know, little efforts. But so I get home Sunday. Sunday morning was pretty busy, and like literally, I deliberately didn't, or I didn't really try to like rush it too much Saturday night, because I had like my second of 3 appointments for the VA disability thing I'm working on. I had one last week, then I had one this Sunday at 10 a.m. So I thought, well, I can't go back. I can't go to bed if I get home early, like a couple hours before 10 o'clock. So I got to be up for that appointment. So I thought I'm not going to worry about really getting home early. You know, I'm going to just maybe get home like 8 or 9. That way I can take the dog for a walk, relax, whatever. Hop on the call, and then after that, grab a shower and go to bed, you know. So I got home, stopped in at the wife's work to say hey to her and grab a breakfast burrito for myself and a breakfast bowl for my daughter. My wife, of course, hey, can you give me this one energy drink, whatever? And I was like, sure. Which, of course, like she was thinking, I guess she was expecting I'm gonna buy it and then she's gonna drink, she's gonna have it, take it back in the kitchen with her and drink it there. And I was like, no, I gotta take this home. She's saying, I'm keeping this here. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't buy it and have you drink it here. You know, I was just giving her a hard time. So I get home, I take the dog for a walk, I get on the call, I deal with that, and like 11, you know, 11:30, I'm like, all right. I hop in there to take a shower really quick, and I'd probably get to bed, lay down at like 12, set my alarm for like 4:30, and my wife comes in. Hey, what time do you got your alarm set for? I'm like 4:30. So that way I'm not sleeping my entire day off. I want to catch a little bit of rest or whatever. And you know, Sunday basically it's like that night I checked and it was like still flashing red. I was like, crap. So I was like, alright, probably Monday morning, Monday afternoon, I'll check it out again. You know, it was nice being able to hung out with the kiddo for a little bit. You know, came downstairs to the game room because we have a nice couch down there. I brought the dog down and I kind of got her up on the couch. Me and the pup were hanging out with the kiddo, you know, just kind of chilling out. And my kiddo was like kind of surprised I was down there. She's like, this is weird. Like, you're never down here. I'm like, well, you know, like you never come up. So I thought, well, I'll bring the dog down and I'll hang out with you for a few minutes. You know, and so we were sitting there watching what she was watching. And like half an hour, I got up. All right, you know, I'll drag the pup back upstairs. You know, just, all right. You don't have to go upstairs, Dad. I'm like, I know. I was like, but I got the wife upstairs, so she's probably wondering what I'm doing because I'm not up there with her. I'm down here with you. That's what I'm thinking. But, so Monday, technically, so now yesterday, because I'm actually recording this technically on the same day that you guys are listening to this. Well, if you're listening to it when it comes out. If you listen to it later in the week, then never mind. But, so yesterday afternoon, when I get up, got up at like 4, put the dog outside, and, got ready to go, got in my FedEx gear, all that fun stuff. And then I went to, because I heard the garage open, so I was like, oh, the wife's up, alright. So I thought, well, I'm going to go out, and we'll check the car, see what the battery charger is looking like. she just pulled in the garage, so I like walked past her car and I went over there to check it. And she's like, "Is it showing green?" I'm like, no, it's still fucking showing red. She's like, man, what's that mean? I was like, well, I looked online and it said that if it's still pulsating red after 3 days, then there's a chance the battery is bad. But it also said, there's also a chance that the calcification is just too great that the charger can't really determine that it's fully charged. So it can't see that. So it's like still gonna try to trickle charge it or whatever. It's basically said go ahead and try to like unhook it, give it 5 or 10 minutes to let the surface charge dissipate, and then go ahead and try to start it. And if the car starts and runs without you having to without you having to rev it or whatever, if it stays running, then that means that the battery is still good. But it would still recommend you let it run for 30 minutes. And if it keeps running, you're probably good. But we still recommend you take it to like a shop to have them put a tester on it to see what are the cold tracking amps on it to see if when like the weather changes, if the battery will still be good or if it'll you'll be stranded. And I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense. So I told my kiddo, I was like, that obviously, like, even if the car ran, that I would still possibly, because I want to get into the shop to like have certain things done, like tires, brakes, tune up, oil change, whatnot, like have actual like work done to it to make sure it's good. Maybe the shocks, whatever, all sorts of stuff. I want this is an old car. I don't know when the last like major maintenance, like shocks and struts and whatnot, So I get, so I unhook it, I close the hood, and I get in. The wife, of course, is standing outside her car, looking over my direction. I think she was on video call with a friend or whatever. And I get in the car, and I of course, like the light comes on when I open the door. I put the key in, and you hear the ding, 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 because of course you have the door open. My wife's like, "Oh, that's a good sign." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I wondered because while it was hooked up over the last 3 days, I could open the door, and the interior light would come on." So I was like, I figured it was getting power. I just didn't know how well. So I put the key in, turn the key, fires up, starts running. She's like, "Oh, that's great." I was like, "Yeah." But the only thing is, like, I had it run in 6 months, so it's like, it was very heavy exhaust for a little bit, like literally filled the garage. We had one of the doors open, so I opened the other door. The wife, of course, like, "I'm gonna go inside because, oh man, it's getting really smoky in here." Yeah. Like, I let the car run. I came inside, like, I'll probably move my truck to the other side of the driveway, so that way I can back her car out into the driveway, so that way it's not filling up the garage since it's very heavily exhaust right now. And I went out to do that, but then I noticed that apparently it settled down. I guess it burned off, whatever. So it's like it had regular exhaust coming out, but it wasn't like, "Hey, huge cloud behind you." I'm like, okay, cool. It's actually like normal now. So I just left it in the garage with the doors open. And 30 or 40 minutes of just running out there. My kiddo came home from school. My wife set up an Uber for her to come back instead of going to pick her up. And she came home, and I was like, "Hey, so why don't we go down to the mailbox? I'll ride with you, whatever." So she slowly backed out of the garage. She's like, "I'm a little nervous because it's pretty tight in the garage. We have stuff over on the other side. Make it a little tighter in that that other garage bay or whatever." So she backed out, and we went down the street, and she obviously has to just get used to driving her car because it's a Buick Park Avenue, so it's longer, has a long hood or whatever. So I was like, when we drove down there and stuff, there's one thing where I noticed she kind of swerved off to the side before making a turn. As he kind of swerved a little bit right there, and she was, "Oh yeah." I was looking over. I looked down to look at the shift or the blinker, and so then I got distracted and kind of swerved a little bit. I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Well, obviously, like, when you get in the car a couple more times, it'd be like, obviously when you get in before you start driving, you want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with everything, like where the turn signal is, lights, whatever, so that way you don't have to look away from the road to try to figure that out. Especially when you're new and it's very easy to get distracted and swerve off the road. You don't want to do that. You want to be able to do stuff while you're still keeping the car straight or whatever. So, but then I was like, the only other thing I noticed when we came back home, I was like, the only other thing I noticed was took the turns really wide. And she's like, well, yeah, that's because I'm not familiar with the length of the car. Like, you know, and I'm like, I understand. Like, but you're not a truck with a trailer, so you don't need to take that turn like super wide. You can take it a little bit wide, but as long as you're not turning right at the curb, you know, then you're not gonna hit the curb or whatever. Just, you know, pass, turn it, whatever, you know. But then she pulled up to the garage. She goes, I don't know if I feel comfortable pulling to the garage because it's pretty tight in there. I was like, okay, you want me to do it? She goes, yeah. All right. So I got out. She went inside, and I got in. I had to back the car up to straighten it out so I could, because she was off to the side a little bit. I had pulled it in there, and it is snug on both sides. So I was like, I tried it again. I basically was like, all right. I shut the car off. I gave it a minute or two, and I cranked it back up. It fired right up. Didn't have any battery light, nothing, whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. I think we're good. I think the battery's okay, but obviously still gonna want to test it, double check, you know. But I told her, I was like, when I get the car in to have work done to it, when I get the back paid, I said I might go ahead and just have them for the hell of it. You know, I mean, we'll obviously test it if they say the battery is good, that doesn't need to be replaced, and I'll probably leave it. But otherwise, I'm fine with putting a brand new battery on there when I put new tires and brakes and everything else, you know. Get the car, and plus we got to do a paint job eventually because the paint on is really old, and obviously it's come off on certain parts or whatever. And so I was like, hey, what color do you want to paint your car? Or out of curiosity, like hot pink? She's like, no. She was, I was thinking like a dark red, like a burgundy or whatever. And I went, okay. I was like, I can see that. I was like, that would be kind of a cool color for it, I think. You know, I was like, you don't want it to be like a bright color that you're gonna stand out to cops, but you don't want it to be, you know, like obviously like white. Now, white, like it's a white car, so white is fine. But like my Silverado is white technically, but I think it's more of a shinier white versus like the Buick is more just a white. There's no like glossiness to it. I think if we could make the Buick white like my Silverado and actually have that little clear coat, whatever, that makes it a little shiny or whatever, that'd be cool. But I figured she didn't want to have it white though. But so when I came inside after firing the car up again, letting it run for a few more minutes, turning it back off, I came in. I was like, hey, so like, one of the things you can do. So it's like, obviously, I want you to get used to, you know, get comfortable pulling the car in and out of the garage, obviously. And if you need to, you could reorganize that side of the garage. Some of the things over there, maybe we can move those to the front of the garage, so that way you have more room beside you, so that way you can pull in and not feel like you're crowded on both sides. You can, you know. She was, yeah, probably, you know, the whole garage needs to be organized out. I'm like, okay, well, then go for it. You know, I was like, you know, some of the stuff in the garage, I'm sure we could probably clear out and get rid of, you know, but so, you know, so in closing, as far as the topic this week, it's like, I was thinking to myself earlier that, like, obviously, like, we're in a new phase in our life where, like, she just started college, and so this is gonna be our life for the next 4 years. I mean, obviously, it'll get slightly easier because she'll get her license. She'll start to drive the car on a regular basis. We'll have to play musical cars, like move cars around, so that way, like, she can take her car. And like, I might have to move so she can get her car in the garage, and I'll park behind her, or whatever. Or if she's gonna leave first, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because, like, if my wife doesn't work that day or the next morning, I could probably park my truck behind where my wife parks, so that way my daughter will not have anything behind her car in the garage, so she can open the garage and basically back out and go to class, and then when I go to work, I can just leave, and when I come home, everybody will basically parked at home, and I can, again, you know, very, like, if I know that my wife's gonna have to leave before me, what I could do is I might end up, you know, pulling in. I've done it before, I think, where I knew my wife was gonna have to. We had my kiddo's older sibling that from another dad that was visiting. And so they would be over their car being the right side when I came home. So what I did, because I knew that I'd have to leave, and I think my wife had to go to work before I was going to go to work. So what I did is I parked behind the other kiddo, and I got the key from inside, because they crashed at our house the night before, so they were still there, and pulled my wife's car out of the garage, and then I parked my truck up as close to the garage as I could possibly get, and then I parked my wife's car behind me, and then like that way, I messaged the group chat, hey, move the cars around, so like Aaron, your car is behind my truck, Eli, your car is behind, it's over there on the right side where it is. I've decided that way nobody's blocked in, and so I came out, and basically like my wife, I think she got home before I left that afternoon, so it's like she was parked on the right side of the driveway, and then I think she was still parked there when I came home the next morning. So I pulled in, or I parked on the curb, went in and got the keys, and I put her car in the garage because it was going to be like 10 degrees that day. And then I went ahead and parked on the right side of the driveway where I normally park. So it's like, so then everything was back to normal. But it's like, we're probably going to end up doing that when we have 3 active cars moving around. I might, maybe shift my wife's car behind my truck in the left side, so that way I can, I can park over there and not block my daughter in. But if she's in class or whatever, depending on what time she's gonna get home, I could, like, if she's gone before I get home that morning, then I could just park on the right side and figure I'll move it later, because her car's pretty long and my truck's pretty long, so I don't know if we could park her car and my truck on the same side of the driveway. Probably can, I'm thinking. But it's easier if I just deal with me and the wife's car, because she's got a Jeep, and her Jeep's a little bit shorter, so it's like a lot easier to take up one side of the driveway. So I would love to widen the driveway to have enough space where we could park 3 cars side by side, so I could have 1 car in the middle and 2 cars on the side. So that might be a change, or something I might make at some point, to kind of give us more room, so we could park 1 car off to the side and then the other 2 cars, so it's like, fun times. But I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I'm so tired, like, it'd be nice to just, we're not gonna have a break for a while, because trying to help the kiddo do what she has to do. But then I'm thinking, like, yeah, but at the same time, I wouldn't change it, because like these are memories that later on in life, when she has her degree and she's off doing her thing, and it's just me and the wife, I'll look back and be like, you remember when we were those 4 years when Zoe was in college and we were struggling to just try to like or juggle schedules around or whatever. Yeah, it was a pain in the ass, but at the same time, it was, wouldn't change it, just like I told my kiddo when I there's things that I did when I was with my ex that ended up resulting in we got divorced. I ended up in the Air Force. I met my wife, and we obviously had my youngest, because my oldest I adopted, so it's like she's not my biological, but she's still my daughter. But then we had our youngest, and I told her, I was like, well, there's a lot of stuff that I, in a way, I wish had gone differently, because life would have turned out differently. But at the same time, I don't regret things turning out the way it did, because if I had gone a different route, you might not be here. So I was like, so I wouldn't change it, because life happens for a certain way for a reason. So it's like, I don't regret it, me going through the trials and tribulations and stuff that I've experienced, because you're here. Like, yeah, life could be better, but like, at least that, you just got to keep, as long as you just got to decide what kind of goals you have, what you want out of life, and you got to just keep trying to make it happen. So so it's like, there's another thing, like, I was looking up Facebook memories, and one of the memories was back in like 2016, 2017. A team I was a part of before I did Team Synergy was like Team Infinite Freedom. And basically it was like Kansas Water Systems, these filters, which they're still around. That company is a pretty big company, but it was a team that was dealing with that business, like the affiliate marketing part of that business. So they had these video calls, like these Zoom calls, every like Tuesday night or something. And so what we had to do was we would do videos and stuff, advertisements, so we pay Facebook ads to basically try to get the word out there, try to get people to join these calls, and then basically when people would buy these filter systems, you'd make commission on them monthly or whatever. And so it's like, I joined and I started going with the stuff, and I had this memory pop up from 2016, 2017, and it was basically me doing a video. It was like, hey guys, got involved in such and such, and like what I'm working on is trying to get myself off the road, blah blah blah, and like these no cost presentations that you can join and you can see what it's all about, blah blah blah. I forwarded that, I sent that post to my bro Rico or whatever, and I was like, hey man, this is from back 2016. I was like, oh man, back or one of the many attempts of me trying to figure out a way to get myself off the road. Rico's like, the funnel system advertisements, and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh yeah. He goes, man, I hated the funnel affiliate marketing systems or whatever that we try to do. He's like, man, I never did shit. I don't think I've either. I was like, I do others that basically they made it, they got enough signups, customers, whatever, that they did actually retire themselves. I said I got like 6 months in, I had my business page, I did like 4 or 5 actual videos that I had paid the Facebook ads or whatever, and had those videos run for like a week or two, and I got a couple people that came to the calls. They didn't buy or whatever, but Facebook would then shut my video down saying I didn't follow their guidelines. It was like I did everything right, I thought I did everything right. Wasn't promising riches, wasn't saying it to get rich, whatever, wasn't saying you were gonna make money with it. It was basically just like, but yet I would get shut down. So 6 months after I started, I had my last ad account shut down. I basically was like, well, I'm paying out of pocket to do these ads, and yet I'm getting shut down every time. So it's like, obviously this is not gonna work. So it's like, man, I just shows like I've been working on this, trying to get this done for a while. I mean, I'm closer now than I ever have been, but like I have a little bit more of a plan now, and like I have certain things I know I'm gonna do. I just need money to do them. So once I get the back pay with the disability and stuff like that, there's certain things are gonna start taking off pretty good. I'm gonna be like, all right, let's start doing this with the coffee shop. Let's start doing that with YouTube to try to build that, and do this with the podcast, blah blah blah. I got plans, but like they say, how they say it takes money to make money. So it's like you gotta, if you don't have a lot of money to spare, but you're still trying to pull something off, it's a lot harder to do. That's why I get a kick out of people that I know online that basically they're big, like they're already really well off. From when they joined the business, they were really well off, and then they were able to like dump a bunch of money into the business to try to actually get more people into their team. And so all they care about is build their team. They don't really care about helping others. Like probably wouldn't buy coffee or a hoodie from me to try to support my business. But always, hey guys, join my team. Yeah, I'm not interested. I'm done with the team thing. So. But anyway, guys, pretty much all I have for you tonight. But basically, it's like all the trials I've been through and stuff, everything I'm currently going through with the kiddo and going to school, whatever. Hell, everything I've been through with the wife, still going through with the wife. But things are pretty good there. It's like we have struggles. Obviously, it's like all I can do is look back and go, well, we had our moments where things were really, really, really bad, and so things thankfully better. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Had a call come through because Lionel was calling me, whatever. I saw the little screen option going on, and I saw the sound waves get all big again. I was like, fuck. Hold on a second, be right back. So then I waited for the call to actually come through. because it screens it first, and then it starts actually ringing through on my end. So I was like, hey, we have a pup for you, going back to Casey Mo. Okay, cool. I was like, I figured, I saw she was like, the Google screen sounds differently every time we call. And I said, I have that set up deliberately for you guys to throw you guys off. Just kidding. So I almost wish I could actually, really wish I could be like, if I'm not doing a recording when they call, I could be like, have that part be recorded too, and then have that be on this episode as well. It'd be interesting. Be kind of like a Real Talk / Raw Chat, back to Real Talk kind of episode. That would be really cool, but sadly I don't know how to do that. I don't know if that's even possible, but it would be pretty awesome. So, and we all think that's all I got for you guys tonight. I appreciate you hanging out with me on this long-ass episode. Sorry about how long it was, but hopefully you guys found value in it. And again, the point of topic, my mind blanked for a second. I'm like, not points, not purpose, topic. Yeah, that's what it is. Topic. All right, cool. A topic, with this one being gratitude, appreciation. Even during, when you're overwhelmed or whatever, something like that. But basically, like, we never know what tomorrow's gonna bring. We never know what the future's gonna be like, especially with your kids or people that you got to deal with in your life now, like parents, siblings, kids, whatever. And in however many years, you might look back and miss those days when you actually had, like hell, I look back now and I go, I tried to enjoy it when I knew my oldest was going to be moving to Georgia with my grandson. The last couple weeks that I had them here, I tried to do whatever I could, took them out for froyo, tried to go out, we went out to eat, we went to movies and stuff like that. And then the very last week that they were here, it was sad. Like that week, I was very emotional. I felt I'm not gonna lie, I cried a few times. And then the day before he was leaving, it was very hard. Then the day he left, I had to work that night, it was very hard. And that first week or two when they were gone, it was hard. Very very emotional, whatever. And then after a couple weeks, obviously things, got easier or whatever. And my daughter has responded a couple times to messages or whatever. So it's like that's made things a little bit easier too, because, I had that feeling like she just want to move away and not have anything to do with us, but she just talked to us on occasion. So, we're like, all right, I guess we're just going to let her live her life, obviously. But as a parent, you want to be involved in your kid's life. But hey, our youngest wants to be part of our lives, so that's why we're doing everything we can to help her with her goals and her dreams, help her with her college stuff, help her get her license, and I'll fix her car up so that way hopefully we can have the Buick in the family for quite a while, and that'll make my parents happy because they're my mom's dad's car will still be with technically my grandparents' great grandkid. It'd be nice to be like another 10 years from now and we still have this 95 Buick. It'd be like, I think, 2035 would be 40 years old at that point. Maybe we'll have antique plates on the car by that point. Who knows? But anyway, y'all, hope everybody had, hope this episode resonated with some of you and stuff. I'll repeat what I said at the beginning of this episode. Basically, you can find us on socials. Blodgett Show Podcast on Instagram. Find my personal socials on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at TNTruckerChris. A blog at tntruckerchris.wordpress.com. Find me on X at CEAZFreedom. One of the things I do want to do for anybody listening is I do, for the Storytime Friday, I do plan to do listener stories. Where you can send in your stories, whatever, if you're a writer, and you have fiction, not fiction stories. Hell, if you have true stories, that you know of, hell, you can even send stories of things that might have happened to you, if it's paranormal experience, weird experience, true crime experience, whatever. I can include them on the Storytime Friday and basically just be like, this story was submitted by so and so, and it's basically about something that happened when she was younger, blah blah blah, or happened between her and her spouse, or happened when she was out camping or something. Or this is a story that was written. It's a fiction story by so and so. Send those stories to blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com. And I will, obviously review the story and then make sure everything's good. Make sure it's, not inappropriate, obviously. And we'll tell it on the show, obviously. And I always love when a truck goes past me. They slow down and kind of mirror my speed, so I brake to kind of let them go by me. I'm like, I don't like hovering beside you, where you and I can just casually look over at each other. Like, nah, you go ahead and pass. But anybody who wants to support the show, go to blodgettshowpodcast.com/support. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. Watch, I'm gonna end the recording and be like, shit, I forgot to talk about such and such. But on that note, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and keep being awesome, keep believing, keep pushing forward. You know what I always say: do what you gotta do. Believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there. And then you just have to go out there and do it. And aside from that, enjoy the little moments with your family, with your friends. I've had friends that I didn't think we'd have a falling out and not talk, but then eventually things happen, and now we're no longer friends, so it kind of sucks. But I look back, hell, Joanne, the friend that I used to call, that I referred to as D, she and I were really close, whatever, did video calls, whatever, when my grandson was really little, and literally would video calls, show him the grandkiddo, or show her the grandkiddo, and basically, same thing with Joanne, things are really close, we're really close. Hell, Kirsten, a little shout out to the three of you guys. Feel free to reach out, love to reconnect with you guys, but probably not gonna happen. But Kirsten was a close friend for probably 10 years, and then randomly just would ask advice and then not take the advice, do her own thing, and kind of, I finally backed away. Look, I can't do this anymore. You're always wanting advice, but then you go and you do this dumbass thing anyway. So go ahead and go live your life. I'm gonna go off over here and do what I gotta do. And, So, but that's life. People come into your life for a season, and then they're not only meant to be in your life for a certain amount of time, and then you go off and do your own thing. So all I can do is wish all those people the best, wish them well, and pray for them. But it's all good. But take whatever's going on in your life, enjoy it, be grateful for it, appreciate it and stuff, because you never know when something might happen and suddenly certain people aren't in your life anymore, whether it's something that happened and somebody died, or they just left or no longer a part of your life. Just things happen and life changes, so enjoy the little things and be grateful for them. But on that note, guys, appreciate you. I look forward to talking to you next week again on the next Real Talk Tuesday, and I will talk to you then. Have a good one.